Tiffany, and we come to you from Killeen, Texas, and Counseling Solutions. This is our roundtable. Today we're going to talk about mindfulness. We have, on the end here, we have Miss Linette. She is one of the co-facilitators for the DBT group that we have, in which case we go through a lot of mindfulness practice and that. Crystal Passmore, she was one of the co-leaders of the group as well. And Miss Debbie Mabray, our therapist who has taught from DBT for how many years, kind of the DBT focus?
Probably about 10.
10, okay. I say DBT a lot because it's a theory that incorporates the mindfulness, the uses of mindfulness very heavily. My name is Tiffany Herndon. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. What is DBT? What is DBT? Dialectical behavioral therapy. It focuses on pulling from extremes and pulling it more into a balanced center when you're going through life. Has 4 different tenets from mindfulness, emotional regulation, distress tolerance, and interpersonal effectiveness, but everything is built off the foundation of mindfulness. So just the first question for you all, whoever might want to answer, what has been most helpful for you when teaching and walking with clients through mindfulness?
I think from what I have experienced in teaching in the group and then in individual sessions as well, kind of allowing clients to see it as a tool rather than this thing that they have to do to, make changes in their life where it seems intangible. If you show it to them and you describe it to them as a tool of the ways to just feel balanced and feel calm and get stress relief, and to just be able to be in the moment. I think that being able to talk to clients from that aspect of mindfulness, I think it allows them to connect on a simple level with it, rather than, okay, what mindfulness is so abstract when you think about it in general. It's like, what does it mean? But if you can break it down and talk to them about how mindfulness has widespread benefits, not only emotional benefits, but it makes a big difference in pain management, that it can be used in dealing with relationships and being aware of what's going on and reading other people. And it's a useful tool that stretches through many different aspects of your life.
So part of it sounds like is correcting a preconceived idea of what they already hear when they hear mindfulness.
Yeah, a lot of times I think from when I start teaching it with clients, for them to hear it the first time, they think, oh, that's that meditation stuff.
Yes,
and
I know, that's what I hear.
That's not for me, and that's not going to work for me. And they have this idea already that no, let's not go there. But I think it's kind of breaking down, like you said, those preconceived ideas and explaining it to them in a way that says, no, it's very useful if you know really what it's for and how to use it. So
yeah. How about for you, Ms. Linette? What have you found?
I mean, it brings a sense of awareness because folks become so inundated with what's going on around all the noise.
Yeah.
With mindfulness, it affords you the opportunity, as Crystal said, to really just focus on the moment, being there, being in, and being present, opposed to just some of everywhere and losing perspective of what's right in front of you and allowing all this other stuff to come in and influence your thoughts, your behaviors, and everything else. So it's that sense of awareness that I really take away from it, with folks. Having that, I have been kind of all over the place or scattered about, but when I take the time to just be in the moment, then I can appreciate what's right here in front of me. And all that helps us with family and friends. And having that ability to pick up that skill, that tool, to say, okay, I need to tune in.
Yeah. Even just hearing you describe it sounds relaxing. Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How about you, Miss Debbie?
I remember a long time ago, people used to, there was a saying about you need to stop and smell the roses.
Yes.
Y'all heard that? I think that's like one of the earliest forms of mindfulness. I think that it's real easy to become a part of your environment because we absorb our environment. And when you pull yourself out of that environment and become aware, like Linette said, you're aware of where you are at that specific point in time, and what are you feeling? Instead of sitting here under a fan doing our YouTube video thing, what are you experiencing? And then you hear the water in the background, you hear the fountain, you feel the air, and all of these different attributes begin to flood in. And I just think we go from minute to minute to minute, never stopping to see where we are and feel where we are.
Yeah. There's an aspect of like, a lot of times we go through either living in the past and what's happened and ruminating on that, or we are constantly 10 steps ahead for what's the next thing that has to get done. Not so I can enjoy it, but so I can feel productive, it can be checked off the list, and then I make sure I get to the next thing. And then we don't remember the day. The day just ended. And we can't go back very easily because we were constantly not in the present moment. We don't remember it because we weren't really there, if that makes sense. Mentally, we were somewhere else. So taking the effort to come down, one of the ways I like doing a quick way to do it is the senses, the 5 senses. If you can focus in on any moment of your 5 senses, what am I smelling? What am I touching? And just let yourself kind of notice what things are going on around you, what your senses are picking up. It can pull you out of that worry. It can pull you out of the past. It can pull you out of the future and kind of root you in right now, which also takes a lot of acceptance. I have found that's one of the biggest things I battle is, am I just accepting where life is at right now so I can function in the moment, and I will deal with whatever needs to be done, give it the attention it deserves later.
What if you're not happy about where you are at the moment? Does that impact how well you can institute mindfulness, or does it matter?
I think I'd like to answer that. I think mindfulness gives you a way to be in the moment even when you're stressed, upset, worried, hurt, angry. It allows you to be aware of where those feelings come from. It allows you a time to sit and say, okay, let me not just run away from what I'm feeling. Let me not just stuff it away. Let me not just escape because I can't feel it, because I won't be able to withstand it. I think that's a lot of where we come from with our emotions and our daily life. The weight of it is we try to just push it off and say, I won't be able to handle it if I pay attention to it.
I'll do it later.
I'll do it later.
I'll deal with this after a while.
But the kind of the magic of mindfulness is that if you can stop, use your 5 senses, and allow your brain to just kind of be still and allow it to feel what you're feeling, and you can experience that pain or that anger in a different way so that you can, like you said, accept where you're at right then in the moment and say, just because I'm angry right now does not mean much else for the future. I can be angry right now, and it doesn't have to mean bad things.
Yes.
I can gain more control, and I think that's where mindfulness offers such a usefulness in our emotions, is that it can be a method of regaining control and understanding of your emotions, where sometimes you feel led by anger and you can't stop it. People have used the phrase like, I've just blacked out. And I think mindfulness, as you practice and learn what it does, it allows you to just experience those things in the moment, not push it away, and understand that you can tolerate it. Because I think so much of our emotions we're afraid of experiencing, we're afraid of feeling, that if we feel it, we'll be out of control.
Yeah.
But it actually gives you more control by being able to experience it to its fullest in that moment.
You posted an article on the Counseling Solutions webpage, Facebook page, Facebook page about anger and mindfulness. Can you tell us a little bit about that article?
Yeah, I believe I shared it from another source, but basically the premise of the article said that anger can be a powerful emotion, and it can lead to destructive behaviors. But if you are more aware of that anger and the underlying emotions that kind of bring that along, that you can gain more control and more power over your behaviors. Because a lot of times people associate behaviors with the way that a person is and who that person is. But in general, there are so many different aspects of ourselves. There's the emotional self, there's the mind, the intellectual self, and then there's the self that acts out and behaves, and those are so intricately intertwined. Our thoughts affects our emotions affects our thoughts, and therefore it affects our behaviors.
Yeah.
And so if we can gain control over just experiencing that anger and saying, okay, well, I feel angry, but that's not all I feel. What else do I feel, and where does it come from? Why do I feel angry? And what that article talked about was that a lot of our anger, it comes from an instinctual fight or flight response. You respond instinctually in anger as a way to escape the situation that you're in, to protect yourself, or to fight your way out of it, to protect yourself. It's kind of a survival mode. And that article said that, while anger instinctually can be protective, it can also be destructive. And if you're more aware of where that anger comes from, the emotions underlying it, and allow it to kind of just be in the moment, it takes a lot of the intensity out of that emotion and allows you to have what we call in DBT a rational mind response, or more of a wise mind, because you're bringing your rational mind into your emotional self and combining the two and behaving out of that.
So rational and emotional are at the opposite ends of this emotion checker thing.
And that's what some people, when I hear them, they come in and they say, I feel flooded with emotions, it's overwhelming. And I'll say, what's your goal? And they're like, I'm going to be so put together that nobody will be able to see anything. And we come down to eventually, they don't want any emotion. If emotions are gone, everything is okay. And that is not a healthy way to function either. And that's often what we present as, if the person is this much in control, you'll see no emotion. What you resist, what you suppress, will persist. It will keep going, and it'll get bigger. So it's not resisting, it's not suppressing the emotions. We use kind of the wave analogy. Can you feel your emotions go through you like a wave, not grabbing onto them and getting stuck, kind of putting it back out there and just kind of letting it go by and assessing where things are at. So the goal is not no emotion. The goal is not, I'm an angry person, that's just who I am, I'll never understand it. The goal is to that wise mind in the middle. How can I combine my emotions with my rationale and my thinking and come out with an effective solution to walk through?
So many times I hear people talk about emotion as a bad thing.
Yes.
We work with a lot of soldiers, and a lot of my female soldiers tell me that they're often criticized for being emotional, like it's bad.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I think it's a invalidating environment. Different environments we're in are going to say, if you have this emotion, we're going to assume you're out of control.
So does emotion make us weak?
I think that there's been a misconception about that. I
Yes.
think that in specific cultures, communities, environments, that people have kind of this idea that emotion, if you express it, you're not in control.
Right.
And that you are not rational and you can't be reasoned with. And I think that that's a misconception. I think that that's an unhealthy way to look at human behavior. Because humans, you're not going to be able to change the fact that they're emotional creatures. That's what makes us distinct from other creatures in our world, is that we are emotional creatures. We can think about things in a rational way. You can't separate those two.
According to what DBT says, if I don't have anger, then I don't have passion. If I don't have one extreme, I can't have the other. And that would be a horrible way to go through life.
Yeah. Well, and I think emotions can make us vulnerable, but there's the assumption that if you are stoic faced and you have that air of holding everything together, that you're not being driven by emotion, but you still are because you're still suppressing things. So that is just as vulnerable a state as the anger that makes someone feel out of control.
Yeah, it's coming to understand. I'm sorry that, you know, emotion does drive behavior. And it's a matter of regaining positive control, that awareness that you are feeling those things. And with anger being at the top of the list of, you know, the bad things, once you become aware of your anger, you can regain positive control over your behavior because you're not so reactive or preempted to do based off of that anger. You know, so-and-so rubbed me the wrong way, so immediately, you know, you charge into whatever it is you charge into. But once you become aware of that, then it's like, okay, I don't have to do this. I don't have to charge into this. This is something that it's not that serious. I can let it go. But it's being made aware that you do have that choice. You do have that option. Mindfulness gives you that opportunity to get to that place to where it doesn't have to be a negative thing. Once you're aware that you are.
Your DBT groups that you guys run, the clinics that we have at Counseling Solutions, don't you teach different options, different coping skills? So people, an individual can have other choices as opposed to rushing in and confronting. You teach other options.
It's what the scales go. So that's Crystal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that, you know, any of us can have answered that, but it's that's why there's the 4 different segments that you talked about, because mindfulness is at the core, but just being mindful, that's about awareness. It's not about change.
Yes.
It's not about your behavior necessarily, because you've got to put that mindfulness into action and allow that change to take place. There's a segment about interpersonal relationships. If you're just mindful and you don't communicate your mindfulness and what your understanding is to other people, and you don't know how to do that, then you're not going to be much success in a relationship. And so there's also another segment about distress tolerance. When, it's okay to be mindful, but what about when you are in the midst of an overwhelming situation? You just got into a car accident, or someone that you love just passed. It's very hard to concentrate, to be mindful, to be like, okay, I'm going to be okay in the moment, because the reality of life is there are moments where you can't be okay.
Right.
And so those, the teaching modules, the distress tolerance, it allows you more tools to use to be able to de-escalate your emotion in the moment, which kind of allows you to be more mindful. Okay, let me do something really quick to bring my level of intensity in this emotion down to where I can stop and breathe. Because sometimes our emotions get so strong and so intense that you can't even breathe. You forget to breathe. Your heart feels like it's going to explode in your chest. And so, you know, you need different skills. And that's what kind of the DBT group allows.
Do you think that you can have the emotional regulation or distress tolerance or the interpersonal effectiveness without mindfulness?
I don't.
I know.
Okay.
I think you have to be aware of it before you can do anything about it. So mindfulness is needed.
It's the mean things of it. And also, you know, I'm so glad, you know, you touched on communication, effective communication. So many times we have folks who really don't know how to articulate what they're feeling, and it brings on a very intense level of frustration in trying to get it out, and rather than it come out verbally in a positive way, being able to express what they're feeling, it comes out in a very negative way, in a very forceful way. And it has this effect on them that it's not favorable. And for the person or the people on the receiving end of that, hence brings about this perception of the individual. And it's not an accurate depiction of them. It's just what they're going through at the moment. So communication is huge. I'm a huge proponent of communication.
You know, and you talked about, you know, that those individuals that struggle with being able to communicate and come across as forceful and aggressive. I think we experience the opposite end of that spectrum too in group, where we have individuals that, like, I can't communicate my emotions, so I don't, because I'm afraid to. I'm afraid I can't communicate, therefore I won't. And then those individuals become perceived as the doormats. I can get away with anything with this person because they don't communicate what their emotions and their needs are. And so, yeah, mindfulness and DBT works for both ends of that spectrum.
It's almost like we can't change what we can't see. And there's the analogy they use for mindfulness that if you walk into a room and you close your eyes and you try to walk around, you're going to run into furniture, you're going to get upset, you're going to get hurt. The purpose of the mindfulness is to help you walk through life with your eyes open. You're going to have a lot of things you may not want to see. You may want to close your eyes in that metaphorical sense because something is painful, but it'll trip you up. So if you can see things, you're more apt to be able to change them and to change your environment or to work through solutions. And that's, I think, the core of the mindfulness. It helps you to see, which gives you the better chance to be able to change it.
And you don't have to like what you see.
No.
You just have to see it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just to touch on the doormat real quick, I thought about something, we were in a group and, that individual who's perceived as a doormat, there's so much seething beneath the surface of that, and it's waiting to erupt, and when it does, that's where it's, where did that come from? Well, in reality, it's been there the entire time. It's just that this individual just didn't know how to express it, and when it did, like anything else, over time, where pressure is building up, it has to come out. And when it does come out, it's not always the most favorable thing to see. And it's understanding that.
I know DBT is very effective with PTSD. Is that why? Because it helps release some of that pressure before it explodes?
It's an outlet for that pressure. If you think about, the 5th grade science project where
The volcano!
that's what comes to mind. And, you've got all this stuff beneath the surface and it's this broad base. But then when that eruption happens, it just catapults and it just goes up and it just comes out. And it's that stuff that's just been suppressed at the surface for so long and it's so broad, that base, to where when it does come out, it's so forceful. It's just out. So yeah, absolutely.
So if you know of someone who has PTSD, you might want to get them to call Counseling Solutions and inquire about the DBT clinic. We have people here who can help them combat the PTSD, the symptoms, the side effects.
Thank you all.
That was fun.
Yes.
We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.